Hey everybody, welcome back to another reaction video. This one is Stephen Wright, one-liners and deadpan comedy. He looks kind of familiar. I don't remember any of his comedy, but he looks familiar, which is weird. But this was recommended by a viewer like you. If you have a recommendation, leave it below in the comments. I will add to my list and get to it. Like the video if you like it. The link to the original video, let's see if I can talk. The link to the original video is in the description below. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this and see what, I don't think I've seen much deadpan comedy other than Mitch Hedberg, which I haven't seen in a while, but yeah, let's get into it.
My theory of evolution is that Darwin was adopted. I got a new dog. He's a paranoid retriever. He brings back everything because he's not sure what I threw him. My uncle was a clown for Ringling Brothers Circus. And when he died, all his friends went to the funeral in one car. So I get out of the bed, I figured I'd go for a walk. She said, "How long are you gonna be gone?" I said, "The whole time." And I was thinking about the new phone that I bought, and the first thing I did was push redial. Phone had a nervous breakdown. Whenever I think about the past, it just brings back so many memories. I remember the day the candle shop burned down. Everybody just stood around and sang happy birthday. And then we saw a sign, next mile, 1 mile. One time, right in the middle of a job interview, I took out a book and I started reading. The guy said, "What the hell are you doing?" I said, "Let me ask you one question. If you were in a vehicle and you were traveling at the speed of light, and then you turned your lights on, would they do anything?" He said, "I don't know." I said, "Forget it then, I don't want to work for you." I remember when I was a fetus, I used to sneak out at night when my mother was sleeping. I thought to myself, you know, now's the time I should start stealing some stuff since I don't have any fingerprints. I bought some powdered water, but
that was a smart joke.
Sponges grow in the ocean. That kills me. I wonder how much deeper the ocean would be if that didn't happen. There's a fine line between fishing and just standing on the shore like an idiot.
You know what's amazing about this? As I break up that bit, I probably shouldn't do that.
I can levitate.
Okay, just clapping. What's interesting about this is it has to be so concise, and it's almost like an economy of words. The fewer words in the joke, the more it kind of makes you sit there, think, and laugh. It's very tight. There's not a lot of build up to it or whatever. It's just bam.
Birds, but nobody cares. It's a good thing there's gravity, otherwise when birds die, they just stay right up there. Hunters would be all confused. Thinking about my grandfather and how he had a special rocking chair built that would lean forward rather than backwards so he could fake interest in any conversation. I took a lie detector test. No, I didn't. remember when I was 7, my grandmother said, "Stephen, come over here." And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "You know, you're over there. Now come over here." I said, "All right." And then she said, "Here's $10, and don't tell your mother that I'm giving this to you." And I said, "It'll cost you more than that."
That's funny.
I've never seen electricity. That's why I don't pay for it. I write right on the bill. Sorry, haven't seen it all month. I bought this thing for my car. You put it on your car. It sends out this little noise so when you drive through the woods, deer won't run in front of your car. I installed it backwards by accident. Driving down the street with a herd of deer chasing me. I'm going to court next week. I've been selected for jury duty.
Been there.
It's kind of an insane case. 6,000 ants dressed up as rice and robbed a Chinese restaurant.
I've only done jury duty once. And I didn't even get selected. So it was really just me sitting in a room for about 4 hours, getting paid a very nominal rate. And I just left. It was very weird. I think they called 2 separate juries, and the second one landed. So I think maybe I would have been next or whatever, but I'm kind of glad I didn't. I was in college, and they called my house, my mom's house, and she picked up the phone and was just like, "Oh, he's currently at school," thinking that, that would get me out of jury duty. Nope. The woman on the other end of the line said, "What school?" And so she told her, and she looked up the next break, and the next break happened to be fucking spring break. Oh, God. So I had jury duty during spring break. If I had gotten that case, I would have missed all of spring break, let alone just one afternoon. Oh, my God. That was absolutely savage. I'm like, really? You got to do me like that? There's plenty of other people not with spring breaks. Do them. County really did me dirty on that one.
I don't think they did it. I know a few of them, and they wouldn't do anything like that. So I was laying in bed with my girlfriend reading the secondhand diary that I bought. I don't remember this. She said, "Let me ask you a question." I said, "What?" And she said, "If you could know how and when you were going to die, would you want to know?" And I said, "No."
Yes.
And she said, "Forget it then."
I would. I don't know about you guys, but I would. That would give me a finite deadline to do everything I ever wanted. And I think that's what that is. Instead of just kind of doing everything you ever wanted, but you're not quite sure how fast you have to complete it by. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I'm doing all these things and checking things off or whatever. You can kind of see it from my Instagram. But you don't know the time limit. So you might not get to everything, which is sucky.
Left the store and I went down the street to my bus. My bus came and I got on. Started walking toward the back. Sat down beside this beautiful blonde Chinese girl. I said hello and she said hello. I said, "Isn't it an amazing day?" She said, "Yes, it is, I guess." I said, "What do you mean, you guess?" She said, "Well, things haven't been going too well for me lately." I said, "Like what?"
Yikes.
She said, "I can't tell you. I don't even know you." And I said, "Yeah, but sometimes it's good to tell your problems to an absolute total stranger on a bus."
Fair point.
She said, "Well, I've just come back from my analyst and he's still unable to help me." And I said, "What's the problem?" And she paused and said, "I'm a nymphomaniac and I only get turned on by Jewish cowboys."
Well, yeehaw, baby.
Then she said, "By the way, my name's Diane." And I said, "Hello, Diane. I'm Bucky Goldstein."
That's legit. Some of those didn't hit me very hard, and it's just because probably there was zero context to it, or maybe I just like a build up a little bit more with jokes. But man, some of those hit. He has a way of. He had some observations in there that I've never quite heard put into joke form, which is interesting. It kind of reminded me of Jerry Seinfeld a little bit, where it's like observations of the normal, like, stuff that people don't really talk about much, but it's awkward or stupid or annoying. He had some good observations, and yeah, some of those hit. That last one was good. There was a bit of a build up to it. So it wasn't more or less like a one-liner. It was more like deadpan only. So that was recommended from a viewer like you. If you have a recommendation, leave it below in the comments. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next one.